Being an owner-operator is a common goal shared by truck drivers. The ultimate form of being the captain of your ship. Go where you want, when you want. But as we see time keeps going forward, this dream is nothing but that, a dream. You have owner-operators going online discussing their frustration with the spot market. You also have newbies coming in and being preyed upon by people saying that you can lease to own. But as they notice that the lease is becoming more and more for them to handle, they actually have to file bankruptcy. I went over this before, but in this video, we're going to go on to why 2025 is it possible to become an owner-operator in this climate. Let me know in the comments down below if you're an owner-operator. If not, maybe you're somebody aspiring to be that. Let me know again down in the comments below, because sharing is honestly caring, especially in this industry that can feel so divided. But yet we're all doing the common thing, transporting goods from one location to another. So let's go over these key things to see, is it possible to become an owner-operator in 2025? Again, let me know down in the comments below. And let's start off with number one. It's not easy to cover the cost when freight rates are starting to go down. I've met multiple brokers that actually sat behind the computer and they put out the desired rate for a load. And it's no surprise that rates are absolutely cheap. And why is that? Well, there's multiple things. There's also the barrier of entry being so low, and if the barrier of entry is so low and the price is so low and you have people willing to take it, well, there's no wonder why these rates are starting to go lower and lower. On top of that, don't forget about this, we had a fluff, a huge fluff. During 2019, we all know what had happened, and the stimulus checks that went out to boost the economy. You had a lot of companies kind of put out rates at a astronomical rate at one time, because we saw a lot of movement within supply and demand. But as we saw demand started to diminish because the dollar did not go as far as it once did and there was no stimulus, we're seeing a slowdown. Now there's talks of a stimulus check to come again, but is this just another resurgence, or is this rumor? Is this conspiracy? For right now, that's just not what we're going to talk about. Let's move on to the second point. I touched upon this in the first one, but the barrier to entry is just so low. Back then, you would have to use the clutch and shift gears, but today, all you have to do is push in your air brakes and just set it to drive, and you're on your way. I mean, honestly, even the locations that a lot of people are going to are made for trucks. Back then, you would have to get into some tight situations, really show off your skills. But now you have so many things. You have advanced trucks, you have autonomous trucks that are starting to do the job for you in Texas. So it's no wonder that the barrier to entry is causing owner-operators the once desired position to be shunned upon. Why be an owner-operator and take on all the responsibility when the company pays me the same and I don't have to worry about number three? The cost to upkeep equipment is just crazy. Parts and labor are just one of the main things, but on top of that, you have fuel prices that are just going absolutely bonkers. Now, of course, you can find some locations that'll be a haven where you're like, thank you, the diesel rate is perfect. But going out west to California, you find it hard to keep up with the expenses of that truck. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you own your truck outright. Even fuel costs still get into it, determining on if you have the right rates, if you're getting paid what you deserve. Most of the time, a common thing on the internet is these rates are still ridiculous. They're not matching up with what a truck driver is worth. And you have these big corporations coming over and sweeping up all the business. So to get a direct contract with some of these individuals is just not feasible. They rather keep on going with a company that they know and they get benefits with than a single owner operator that they have no idea how you're going to upkeep their business. Again, some of these contracts you can contact at multiple locations like Kroger, Walmart, or something. They're always going to need a contractor, but you're seeing that this demand is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so let's just say you're ready to own your own piece of equipment, but you don't have all the finances. You have a good chunk of amount ready to put down on your own truck. Well, because of the economy that we live in, financing is going to be tough and interest rates are high. Even though we're seeing that the feds are not deciding to do rate cuts. And so this is going to majorly affect everybody. Of course, some people are like, what does rate cuts have to do with anything? Well, borrowing power, that's mainly the biggest thing here. Borrowing power is everything for some of the trucking industry. Even the big billion-dollar corporations within this industry rely on borrowing power. If you have to borrow at a higher cost, it makes no sense. And for that reason, nobody wants to finance. Of course, back in 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, the cost to finance was a lot cheaper than what we have now. But as we see, inflation has just really been kicking the butts of many truck drivers and their financing reliabilities. It's been very difficult just to even secure financing on a semi truck. If you couple this up with insurance costs, it's just going to kill you. Let's just say you have 1 year of experience, no accidents, no tickets. It still does not mean a whole lot. You might be better than somebody that has less experience, but somebody that has 5 years experience, of course, is going to have a better time with insurance. But the premiums are still going to be high, especially for the person that said, I just want to do 1 year, I'll own my own truck, I'm following in the footsteps of my father, my mother, whoever was a truck driver before you. But you're realizing that the insurance premium is just absolutely outrageous, and there's no signs of it ever stopping. So you don't know if next year the premium will keep on going. Maybe every 6 months will it raise? You have no idea, and it could be nothing you did. It's just because of the market is causing it to go higher and higher and higher. I was recently out in California, and my cousin CDL Keiko, he's no longer in the semi truck, had told me about the laws out in California and how strict it is. And it's very unfortunate because this job is already hard to do. Out there, they do have the truck lane, making it easier. But as he mentioned to me, he saw plenty of truck drivers getting pulled over for citations. Now, it could be driver's fault or it could be a quota. Who knows? But the laws are starting to get stricter and stricter and stricter. And with autonomous vehicles coming out, you will see that the laws, of course, will get even more harsh because we don't know who's behind the wheel. Is it autonomous? Is it a driver? It's starting to get blurred lines. And there's no silver lining to be showing up at this current time. A while ago, I kind of went over a little bit of the history of truck driving and how it started. And by no means was it mega carriers, but as we see, mega carriers are becoming the more reliable source of hiring and distributing their drivers to take goods from one location to the next. No longer is it the mom and pop truck driving store out in nowhere that has a few drivers. No, we want mega carriers with reliability and high turnover rates. With mega carriers dominating most, if not every city, it's becoming very difficult for somebody to just make a name of themselves. Warner, Prime, JB Hunt, and more are just some of the companies that are dominating this industry, not leaving any room for anybody to come up and purchase their own semi-truck and make a name for themselves. Seldomly do we see a company that started off with one truck driver build and build and build, because ultimately you have companies that will buy out that company. They'll go ahead and swoop in like Amazon and take up that business. Or some of these mega carriers have some people within the system that can push you out, maybe even flush you out. But let me know if this has happened to you. Let's get to the last and very most important point of this video. The younger generation doesn't want to do this job. I love truck driving, but there's a huge part of it that makes you wonder, is it worth it? It's a very necessary thing. But as we see generations like millennials like myself or Gen Z and possibly the younger, they don't look at trucking as cool. A day in a life video of a truck driving individual is trendy for a moment, but overall, it's not a lifestyle that many want to live. It's a necessity, but ultimately, companies realize that with a high turnover rate and no dedication and not rewarding those truck drivers that's been there for the long haul, they're realizing that maybe autonomous and gathering this data might be better for them overall. So how are you going to compete with a truck that never stops? And a lot of truck drivers right now are really focused on, the little laws, and I get that. And it's very important to follow everyday traffic for truck drivers. But when it comes down to it, the bigger picture is, yes, truck drivers will ultimately be replaced. When? We don't know. And will it be treated like a, pilot? Why are we not paid like a pilot? I mean, that's the thing. And when it comes down to owner operators, this hurts them the most because they have little leverage. Of course, if they have relationships with their business, they might last longer than some of the accounts that mega carriers hold. But ultimately, there's no denying it. Being an owner operator is just going to be difficult. And if you're up to the task, you have a lot of things mounted against you. But if you're somebody that's on the internet and you are willing to be a relationship builder, you might just succeed. I don't think that you can be an owner operator without a social media presence. I think that if you wanted to decide to do it now, that means that, hey, you're going to have to reach out on LinkedIn. You're going to have to reach out on social media platforms, start talking to people that can walk you into some of these contracts easily. Because if you just think that low boards are the way, I don't think that's feasible. I think that that's a pot dream. I don't think that that should be your long-term plan. And I know I'm correct because I've read multiple owner operator books out there that are from people that have done it. So if you want to become an owner operator, I don't think that it's impossible. You have a 50% grade ahead of you. And if you know, there's hardly any 50% grades out there. There probably are some, but it's going to take a lot for you to get up that hill. And if you're an owner operator that is seeing success, let people know down in the comments below. I truly do want to become an owner operator. With my 80-hour work week, I believe I can make it work. I have the dedication, and I have the dream, and I have the vision. But I know the one thing, finances. Can I bleed long enough to turn a profit? That's the main thing. Every business takes about 5 years to take off. Can you bleed for 5 years? Can you make it for 5 years? I've talked to so many owner operators, those that even teamed and they still could not make it. So what is the recipe to be successful? Is it relationships? Is it high enough finances before you drop in? What do you guys think? With that being said, thank you for watching this video. I will return back as champion trucker. It's good to be back, baby.